People generally seem more relaxed when I'm more feminine, if that makes sense.
Interesting. And what do you mean, like when you're in a restaurant or?
In general, walking around.
Yeah.
Like last year when I was out here, just no one spoke to me. Whereas this year it's been completely different. I've spoken to so many people in just 3 days.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So today we're in Hongdae, Seoul, and we're asking some foreigners living here or just visiting here what their preconceptions of Korea were before coming here and how they compare to their actual experience being and living here. Also, if you guys are interested in me and what I do, definitely sign up for my email list. Next time I do a product or an event, you'll be the first to know. All right then, without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, how's it going? Where are you guys from?
So I'm from France.
And I'm from Canada.
So I've been living here for 6 months. So I arrived in August last year.
And today is my second day here.
I came to Korea for work and I was very worried when I checked online about the conditions of juniors in Korea.
Yeah.
I was worried that I would really be not treated at my good value.
Yeah.
And that they were going to push me down and everything. But when I arrived, because it's a foreign company and they're all very open-minded, most of them are Korean and they are treating me very well for most of them.
Wow.
So that's the big difference that I've seen compared to what I've seen online, what you can maybe see in dramas as well with juniors.
You thought that they were going to whip you, right?
Not whip
Work
me.
harder.
But
Get the coffee.
Yeah, basic stuff. But they're not doing this, so that's fine.
But your Korean superiors treat you very well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's excellent news.
I actually didn't know a lot about Korean culture before coming. I just know about like K-pop, about like the plastic surgery, and also the food. And after coming here, I realized like it's more like open and entertaining, and it's really similar to China actually.
Yeah. What do you mean similar to China? I'm curious exactly what you mean by that.
Like for example, stores closing really late because in the Western everything's pretty much closed like before 9, so like you don't see that nightlife as much as like in China or here in Korea.
Yeah. So things stay open very late here. There's always something to do. And you're comparing this to a Chinese city, like where in China, Beijing or Shanghai or other city?
Most big cities, they have that kind of like vibe.
Never sleep, right?
Yeah. And if you're hungry at like 3-4 in the morning, you can like go out in the street and find something to eat. Yeah. So it's very similar, I would say.
So overall, you're enjoying your experience here in Korea?
Yes, really excited about this trip.
You want to move here?
It's too hard if you don't know the language, I would say. But
how has it been getting around just using English? How has that been? So. Some people speak English, some people don't.
And I think if you learn very basic Korean, then it's enough for like 50% of your basic conversation, like ordering in restaurant or finding your way. So for me, I just learned really basic so far, and I feel like it's already helping a lot.
Let's go. Glad you're enjoying your time here, and glad that they're not beating you or whipping you in the company.
Me too, I'm glad actually.
Thank you so much for your time. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Hey, how's it going? Where are you from?
I'm from Wales in UK.
Awesome. And how long have you been in Korea?
About a week, just settling in. Came a year ago just as lockdown was ending. I would say one thing I noticed this time is because it's warmer than last year I came out, I've been wearing dresses more. And that does seem to get a different reception, whereas last year I was in sort of jeans and quite punky, almost hardcore fashion.
Interesting. What does that mean, a different reception?
People generally seem more relaxed when I'm more feminine, if that makes sense.
Interesting. And what do you mean, like when you're in a restaurant or?
In general, walking around.
Yeah.
Like last year when I was out here, just no one spoke to me. Whereas this year it's been completely different. I've spoken to so many people in just 3 days.
What are all the factors that has changed between last year and this year? We have COVID, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it.
Okay, people are less afraid of talking to people, but the dress, we're thinking the dress. So you think people respond more to feminine style?
I think so. Simple things like I've got top under my dress because I know that's more acceptable in Korea than just being sort of strappy top. When I came out last time, I went clothes shopping as soon as possible, and again this time.
Women here dress feminine, but they're not too revealing at the same time as maybe what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do find really interesting is actually the whole eye contact situation. So obviously, again in the UK, and we're doing it now, it's quite natural to just make eye contact with people.
Yeah.
Obviously, what I've read is that Korean people don't like making eye contact with people they've never met.
Yeah.
And certainly last year when I came out, I was sort of looking around over like, does anyone actually make eye contact?
Interesting.
And playing a little game, and they really don't.
So you mean between strangers?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just sort of think, well, how do people get to know people if they're sort of dodging eye contact everywhere? Like, how does contact start?
Well, could that be related to small talk, perhaps?
Possibly.
So in Wales, it's like, say, hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
Would you talk to like the bus driver?
Yeah.
Hey there, bus driver.
Pretty much. You just literally you make eye contact with someone, and if it's sort of returned and it feels pleasant, you just say hello, and then maybe conversation starts. And it's so. It's,
and that's not a flirting thing or anything.
No,
that's
no.
just a complete social thing.
Yeah.
And so here, that's non-existent.
No, and like if you go into a cafe in Wales as well, like, you sit down and expect someone to join you. If there's a seat, someone will sit down with you. And
I'm a little bit shocked by that. That's shocking a little bit to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very kind of warm, neighborly, friendly culture. Cool. I guess you enjoy being in Korea then?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Really safe here too, right?
Oh, definitely. I love that. Like, again, back in the UK, if I go to England, you're sort of constantly looking over your shoulder every 5 seconds, whereas here it is, even when it's crowded, it's really chilled out.
Well, I hope you have a fantastic time in Korea. I'm glad
Thank you
you
very
enjoy
much.
your stay here, and see you later.
So, yeah.
Hi, how's it going? Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for 2 months. My ex-girlfriend was actually Korean.
Yeah.
I kind of knew a little bit what to expect, but once I came here, it was like, oh, it's really like that. I think it was like the 3rd week I was here, maybe the 2nd week. I went out to Hongdae, which is where we are now, and I was out at night, and I came home at like 3 a.m. And the bus is the only thing that's running, so we took the night bus back home, and the streets were empty. Like, nobody was out. The only people on the street were just the people who got off the bus and was waiting for the light to turn green. And it's funny because I was looking around and like there was no cars. It was like dead silent. You couldn't hear anything on the street. It was just me and like 4 other people, and we're just like waiting for the light to turn green. The light was right. I'm like, why are we waiting? Like,
there's no
I
cars.
look down the street, there's nothing. Look down the other way, nothing. I'm like, I'm just gonna walk.
Just
I'm
cross,
just gonna walk. So I crossed, and like I look back, and they're all just waiting there, looking at the light.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, they really follow rules here.
Yeah.
I knew that a little bit, but like once I came here, I was like, oh shit, it's like crazy.
Any other kind of perceptions?
By now I know how to order coffee at a cafe, but it's like, sometimes it's like I'll order in Korean and they're like, okay, so you want to stay here? I'm like, yeah.
So they'll respond to you in English.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, okay, I think I could just speak English.
Yeah.
But then you go to another place and you speak English and they're like,
They have no idea what I'm saying.
wow. You're not like critiquing or complaining, oh, why don't they speak English? You're just like, what's the rule?
Yeah.
Should I speak English? Should I speak Korean? It's very hit or miss.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's all over the place.
That's interesting. I think it's so true.
Yeah. I almost feel like I'm like this opportunity to speak English sometimes, or to show off they know English or they know about American culture. So they'll just be like, oh, you're from Canada. I love Drake. And then they just tell me all this like stuff about Drake.
I love Drake.
Assuming I love Drake too. Drake is pretty good, but it's not
I
like,
kind of do love him, but
it's not like my passion or anything.
Yeah.
So you get that sometimes. And then even if you say everything correctly in Korean, they'll be like, okay, here you go. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Maybe they just want to practice.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right.
Okay.
See you guys.
Adios.
Hey, how's it going? Where are you from?
From Lyon, France.
How long have you been in Korea?
2 weeks, but I really like the city. This Hongdae is really, really, really pretty. I didn't think that it would be so pretty
Yeah.
with the cherry blossom.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's the perfect time to come.
Yes, really perfect time, and
Yeah.
it's not the same from the day and the night. It's not the same vibe.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. I'm surprised, I'm shocked
Okay.
by Korean people do the line for the bus and the train.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
In France, no. In France, we like, and we rush.
Right.
Everybody wants to be the first one to go first. It's not really respectful in France, and here it's really respectful.
Buses and subways.
Yes, everywhere.
Anything else you want to say?
Et on dit croissant, not croissant.
People say in English croissant.
Croissant.
Croissant. I'll practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot.
All right. Hey guys, how's it going? Where are you from?
I am from Pennsylvania in America.
I'm from South Carolina in America.
For me, I definitely heard like, oh, everything's walking distance. And I guess since I wasn't from a city, it didn't really click. I did not expect just how compact everything would be. Like how there's so many things on multiple floors of just one building. Like so many different places.
So where you're from, everybody drives.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Most native Koreans like don't sleep as much, but they work a lot, they study a lot, and they drink iced Americanos. And I just could not do that.
You're a little shocked about how much they like ice Americanos.
Oh yeah. That's the only thing that keeps them going. Like I'll ask my native friends, like, have you eaten? I'll be like, I had an Americano. Like
Yeah.
that's not eating.
Yeah. What do they get in the Starbucks where you live? Frappuccino, cappuccino,
Yes,
latte?
yes.
So many
Coffees that
frappuccinos.
have so much sugar in them, can they really be considered coffee anymore?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Wow, so Americans love sugar.
Yeah. But things are sweet here too.
In a different way.
Yes.
It's sweeter, but it doesn't feel as unhealthy as American foods.
Like pizza's sweet.
The cheese.
Chips are sweet.
I will never get over the fact that I got sweet potato fries, the one place here, and they put powdered sugar on it.
Interesting. Was it good?
It was, but I wasn't expecting it. I would have never put powdered sugar on that back home.
It seems like in terms of food, Americans lean towards salty,
Yes.
whereas Koreans lean towards sweet. So like sweet pizza, sweet potatoes,
Cheese.
sweet cheese. Whereas like America's like salty fries, salty
Yes.
pizza. You like that? You
Yes.
like the salt.
I miss it.
You got the salt in your blood. Thank you so much. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. See you later. Hey, how's it going? Where are you from?
I'm Jacob. I'm from Poland.
You're a digital nomad, right?
Yeah, right. I'm an engineer working remotely.
You said you're bouncing around between Japan, Taiwan, and Korea. These three places mostly?
Yeah, that's correct. Japanese people are a little bit like another planet, and you know, European people are just like me, and Korean people is somewhere in between. Like they understand maybe Western world a little bit more
Than Japanese
than
people.
Japanese, and they're more a bit more open. Japan to me, they feel so comfortable just it being in Japan, and
We don't care about any other culture, language, anything. We're in Japan. We're
Right.
doing this thing.
right, and we love it, and we develop our country
Yeah.
so well. Yeah.
But in Korea, it's kind of like that, but also a bit more inclusive towards other cultures. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yeah. Also, yeah, there is a language barrier. Korean people speak English better than Japanese.
Interesting. Thank you so much for your time. See you later.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll make more of them if you guys like it. Once again, I'm Sean, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some really fun, interesting questions that you can ask when speaking with native English speakers. These questions will help you to create an interesting conversation, to make new friends, to make better business contacts, or to make a better impression on someone romantically when speaking in English. Of course, when meeting someone new, it's always important to ask what their name is. Hey, how are you? I'm Sean. What's your name? Hey Sean, I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. And sometimes it's good to ask where they're from. Where are you from? But after that, many people go on with asking boring, repetitive questions that everyone hears all the time. Do you come here often? How about the weather these days? How old are you? What do you do for fun? Do you like sports? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something? These questions are not really that interesting and don't often lead to memorable conversations. Instead, you want to stick out. That's right, you want to stick out and make a more impactful first impression. Now, before we begin, if you're interested in me and what I do, definitely sign up for my email list. By doing that, you will stay up to date on all the interesting projects and events that I'm doing. This is the best way I have to contact you if I have a big update to share with you guys. Once again, the link's down below to sign up for my email list. So in this video, I will share with you 6 questions that you can use when talking to someone brand brand new that you've just met. Then I will share with you 3 questions that you can use after having talked to someone for a few hours or a few days or just with your friends, people who you already know. So let's begin now with the 6 questions you can use when talking to someone you've just met. So a lot of people often ask the question, what's your hobby? This is not a terrible question, but it's a bit limited. Not everyone has a good answer to the question of what's your hobby. Also, it really sounds like a textbook to ask someone, what's your hobby? Instead, ask people this. So, what do you do to relieve stress? What do you do to relieve stress? This is a much more interesting question because there are many things people can do to relieve stress, and some of them might include their hobbies. So, what do you do to relieve stress? These days I'm really into weight training, but I also really like to go hiking, and sometimes I like to unwind by just playing some board games with friends. It really helps me to relieve stress, you know? One thing you can do when starting a conversation with someone in English is to ask for a recommendation. People always like to help other people, and when they can give their recommendation on something, it makes them feel good. And it also can help to start an interesting conversation. So ask for a recommendation. Can you recommend any good restaurants around here? Can you recommend anything fun to do on the weekend? Can you recommend any good nature around here? Can you recommend any good restaurants around here? Yeah, there's an awesome Mexican place just like 5 minutes from here. You should definitely check it out. Their guacamole is amazing. Another great question you can ask is about what shows they're watching on Netflix. Here's a great sentence you can use. What's the last great show you binge watched? Binge watched. This means to watch a series from episode 1 to the last episode over the course of a few days or weeks. You really like that show, so you binge watch it, one episode after the next. What's the last show you binge watched? And if you haven't seen that show, then you can ask why they liked it so much. What's the last show you binge watched? I just finished watching this show called Band of Brothers. It's about soldiers in World War II, but it's so well made. Have you seen it yet? So, when meeting someone new, we often ask them what they do for a living, right? Well, here's a much more interesting way to do that. You can ask, what's something that people often misunderstand about your job? This one's a bit long, right? Let me say it again. What's something that people often misunderstand about your job? This is so much more interesting than, what do you do for a living? It's giving them an opportunity to talk about something that they never get to talk about. I guarantee you this is going to start a much more memorable conversation for them and you. What's something people often misunderstand about your job? Well, a lot of people think that YouTubers have this crazy, amazing life, but it's actually quite lonely. You know, you do a lot of editing alone, you have to make subtitles, coming up with ideas. I actually spend most of my time working alone. The next question you can use when talking to someone is, what first impression do you usually give off to others? What first impression do you usually give off to others? This is a really fun way to get to know about that person, to listen to their stories, to listen to their thoughts about what everybody thinks of them, how everybody judges them. What first impression do you usually give off? A lot of people say that I'm a bit intimidating because I'm tall, I guess, but once they get to know me, I'm actually a really warm and friendly person. The next question that I want to recommend to you all is to ask them about their MBTI. What's your MBTI? What's your MBTI? Also, a little bonus for everyone. I wonder if anyone can guess my MBTI. Let me know down in the comments. What's your MBTI? Me? I'm a WXYZ. What about you? But if you're not interested in MBTI and you don't know your type, or you ask the other person and they don't know their type, you can just ask this. Are you more of an extrovert or an introvert? Are you more of an extrovert or an introvert? Are you more of an introvert or an extrovert? I'm definitely more of an introvert, so I don't really come out to big parties like this very often. How about you? Now I want to share with you 3 questions that you can use when you've already been talking to someone for a few hours or a few days, and you're not just getting to know them for the very first time. You've been talking for a bit now. What's your earliest memory? What's your earliest memory? You'll be able to talk about your past. your childhood. Maybe it will trigger other memories. And yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this question. Highly recommend it. What's your earliest memory? I remember playing with Legos in my living room while my sister was watching Django. My next question to start an interesting conversation is, do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts? Many people are a bit fascinated by ghosts, and I think almost everyone would like to share their opinion on whether they think ghosts are real or not. A variation of this you can use is, do you believe in aliens? So guys, do you believe in ghosts? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you believe in ghosts? Yes, I do believe in ghosts. The reason is, I am a ghost. So the last question I have for you guys is a bit of a long one, but also extremely interesting. Here it is. If you could go back to university and choose a new major, what would you choose? If you could go back to university and choose a new major, what would you choose? Some people have regrets, some people just want to learn more, but I promise you this will always turn into an interesting conversation. If you could go back to university and choose a new major, what would you choose? I'd probably choose programming. No, you know what? I think I would choose to learn a new language. That would be pretty useful, you know? Oh, there's so many good options. What about you? Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was valuable and helpful to you all. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to sign up for my email list if you're interested in me and what I do and you want to hear about the next big update that I have for you guys. Alright then, once again, I'm Sean and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Natural Talk series. This is episode 4. I'm Sean and I'm here with Chad.
Hello everybody, I'm Chad, I'm from the US. Looking forward to another good talk today.
Great. So today we're going to talk about food and cooking.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. First question for you, Chad. Do you live to eat or do you eat to live?
Oh, right away I know my answer is that I eat to live.
Wow.
Yes, I am naturally a very fast eater. And so whenever I eat with other people, I find myself waiting at the end of the meal for everybody else to finish because I have unconsciously eaten my food so quickly and I feel a little bit bad that I've finished and everybody else is still finishing their food.
That must be really rough when you're on a date.
It is something I am very conscious of when I'm on a date. I need to very meticulously think to slow down as I'm eating, try to engage in more conversation so that I can make the food on my plate last longer.
Yeah. Why do you think you eat so quickly?
I'm not sure that there's a particular reason why I eat so quickly. I know that when I was in the military, that was something that was emphasized, especially in our basic training, was when we would go to the dining hall, we would only have 5 or 10 minutes to eat our entire meal. And so that definitely instilled in me a sense that I need to eat quickly, and it became sort of second nature. But at the same time, I think even before I joined the military, I also just ate very quickly. Since I was young, I always ate a lot of food. Like I would eat, very large portions. And so when I would go out to eat with my family or whoever, if we went to a buffet, I would have to eat quickly because I wanted to eat so much food that I had to eat quickly if I wanted to eat as much as I could. And so I think that sort of developed this sort of habit of eating very quickly.
Interesting. For me, I also eat to live. I don't live to eat. For me, food is like a tool. It gives me the energy I need to do the things I want to do. So it's actually common for me to be so focused on one thing that I can forget to eat, or I can keep delaying my meal because I just want to finish this certain thing. But I know a lot of people, they live to eat. They love trying new stuff. They like snacks. They like tasting all the different flavors of stuff and cooking and desserts and this kind of stuff. And that's interesting but it's definitely not us, I guess, right?
Yes, it seems that we are two peas in a pod as far as having the same outlook on food. I will say when I eat with other people or we're trying to set up where we're going to go to eat, very often, the first question is, what restaurant are we going to eat at, or what are you in the mood to eat? And to me, that question is very difficult because most of the time I don't care because I don't care much about how good the taste is. I recognize that it tastes very good, but at the same time, it's not like a requirement that, this is one of the best places to go. We have to eat here. Yeah. That's not personally important to me, which I find often it's not a serious conflict with other people, but I find that it creates a bit of friction in making plans because they want to go somewhere in particular and I don't really mind where we go. So if they ask me to pick where we're going to go, I often have a very difficult time because for me, the taste is not the first priority. It's just a matter of I just want to eat so that we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, do you like to cook?
No, I despise cooking. I think it goes along with the whole idea here of that, I eat in order to live. So when it comes to cooking meals at home, I try to keep it very simple. I can't cook, and so I'm often left cooking very simple things because it's all I can do. Usually any meal that I cook for myself at home is something where I'm just able to throw it in the microwave or perhaps just make some rice and boil something really quickly and then eat it. That's very often what my meals are composed of at home.
I think I'm a bit different from you. Like, I am really interested in nutrition and like eating healthy foods because it makes me feel better and it makes my body work better. So in order to, get all the nutrients that I need, I actually do have quite a few things that I like to cook at home that make me feel good. For example, I really enjoy cooking potatoes with eggs on the side or bacon on top of the potatoes. I get energy when I eat a lot of potatoes. Very simple, just potatoes with some olive oil, salt and pepper, put it in the oven, and that's definitely a regular meal that I make. Also, bacon and eggs, that's always an easy one and delicious. I also have my morning smoothie, which I don't know if I can say that this is cooking, but...
I mean, it's putting ingredients together and going through a sort of process to turn it into a final product, so I suppose I would consider that cooking.
Okay. So I have my morning smoothie, which is yogurt with bananas, sometimes blueberries, peanut butter, and a raw egg. That protein after my workout. So maybe it's safe to say that you are not a foodie, Chad.
I'm definitely not a foodie. I think that's an accurate description of me as a person. However, I will say that although I don't cook very complex things at home and don't care much about creating myself this fantastic cuisine at home and putting all these multiple ingredients together, I would not say that my diet at home is bad either. Many of the things that you mentioned, potatoes and eggs, I eat the same things. I just eat them in a very simple way, not very complex. So you mentioned putting potatoes together with bacon and all these other ingredients and putting it in the oven. For me, it's I'm going to put this sweet potato in the air fryer for however long it needs, and then I'm just going to peel the sweet potato and eat it. It's the same core ingredient, just eaten in a very simple way. The same thing with eggs. I find that I just hard boil my eggs and then just eat the egg. And so it's just a very simple way. Perhaps people might find it very boring. I actually had some people tell me a while ago that I might be crazy because I would cook myself some rice in the rice cooker and then have just the rice, nothing with it. No side dishes, no seasoning on the rice. It was just white rice. And people looked at me as though I had lost my mind. So I think this is just the way I am and the way I approach cooking.
You truly do eat to live.
I do, yes. I think much like you mentioned it earlier, I eat in order to get energy, in order to move on to the next thing. And so with that as the primary goal in mind, I'm not so concerned with savoring the flavor of what it is that I'm eating. I'm more concerned with get the food inside my body so that it can give me energy to do other tasks.
Yeah. I bet anybody listening to this who is a foodie is probably pulling their hair out right now. You guys are crazy, right?
I think, yes.
They must be thinking that.
Yes.
So in order to satisfy the people listening who do like to cook, who do like food, who do like to put spices and different flavors in their food, I gotta ask Chad, what is your absolute favorite food?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I think for someone like me who doesn't think much about, the flavor of food and having preferences for particular spices or anything, it's a bit of a difficult question. I will say that overall, I am a meat eater.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, if I go out to eat, it'll be some form of meat, chicken or beef, pork. It doesn't often matter what type of meat. I will say that I really enjoy a good steak.
Oh.
And so if I can go to a good steakhouse and get a really good steak, I think that's, pretty much top of my list. Perhaps some garlic mashed potatoes on the side too. I think that would be a really great dinner for me.
That sounds delicious. For me, I have so many types of food that I like. I'll just say right now, the first thing that pops into my head is Mexican food.
Ooh.
Avocados mashed up with tomato, salt, pepper, lime juice, a little bit of onions to make guacamole. Put some tortilla chips into that. A nice big burrito with carnita pork with some sour cream, guacamole in there, a little bit of tomatoes, maybe some rice. Already I'm getting hungry, right?
Yes, I was going to say my mouth is salivating as we're having this
we're
conversation.
Describing. Yeah, so I think there are definitely foods that we both enjoy a lot. Like, for example, it might be interesting to think, if I only had one day to live, what food would I choose for my last meal? I guess for you, Chad, would it be that steak?
Yeah, I think the steak would really be like the final meal, right? So if it was the last day on Earth and I had the entire day, I think, early in the day there would be, of course, different meals. It's not as though I would have one meal for the entire day, but
yeah.
I think the very last meal, I would want to have that steak dinner. I think that would be my final meal.
So what sides would you have with your steak?
Well, I would have those garlic mashed potatoes that I mentioned. Yeah, I think those would be really great. I'd often prefer a little bit of butter in my potatoes as well, just really make them a little bit creamier than normal. As far as other sides to go with it, nothing in particular comes to mind. I do often like a good bowl of chili, which can be a little bit difficult to find here in Korea. Perhaps some carrots or some glazed sweet potatoes. Those would be really good sides to go with the steak as well.
Yummy. Yeah, for Mexican food, I would just say a nice burrito that I described, a side of guacamole, and perhaps some kind of beverage. I think a nice beer would go along well with that Corona with a lime in there. That'd be a pretty good last meal. All right, before we get too hungry, I think this is a good place to end it for this episode.
Sure.
Thank you again, guys, for listening. I hope this was helpful. Once again, I'm Sean.
And I'm Chad.
See you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
안녕하세요, 여러분. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So if you can understand this dialogue, your English comprehension is pretty good. If you want to challenge yourself, just skip to the dialogue and turn subtitles off, then take the quiz. But if you want to use this video as an English lesson and learn the 3 key expressions and see some example sentences for these 3 key expressions before watching the dialogue, then watch this video from the start. Without further ado, let's begin. So the first key expression I want to teach you is piling up. In Korean, it's 쌓여지다. We use this when talking about stress or work or paper, anything that you can stack on top of itself. Like the stress in my life is piling up, or the paperwork is piling up. Let's take a look at some example sentences. The dishes were piling up in the sink, and she knew she had to clean them before the kitchen became a health hazard. The paperwork on his desk was piling up, and he felt overwhelmed by the amount of work he had to do. The next key expression is in jeopardy. It just means in danger, like my job is in jeopardy. My job is in danger. Or his life is in jeopardy. His life is in danger, right? Let's take a look at some example sentences. The health of the elderly population was in jeopardy due to the lack of access to medical care in their area. The small business was in jeopardy of closing down due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic downturn. The last key expression is tearing me apart. In Korean, it's 나를 괴롭히다 or 찢어놓다. Usually when we have some issue or problem and we can't choose between A and B, there's no good solution, we can say, it's tearing me apart. This is a more casual expression. I would use it more with friends, whereas the first two expressions can be used in both formal and casual situations. Now, let's take a look at some example sentences for tearing me apart. The thought of leaving her family behind was tearing her apart, but she knew she had to move abroad for a better job opportunity. The guilt of betraying her best friend was tearing her apart, and she couldn't sleep at night. Alright guys, now that you've learned today's 3 key expressions, let's take a look at the dialogue for today. I can't believe what I just heard. You stole money from the company? How could you do something like that? Look, it's not what you think. I had no other choice. My wife's medical bills were piling up and I couldn't afford them. That's no excuse. You could have asked for a loan or talked to your boss. You put yourself and others in jeopardy. I know, and I'm sorry. I feel terrible about what I did. But you have to understand something. If I get caught, it will ruin my life and my family's future. That's true. But what about the company? They trusted you with their money. And if I know about the crime and I don't report it, I could be an accessory. Please, I'm begging you, don't turn me in. I'll make things right. I'll pay back the money and I'll confess my mistake. I just need some time to sort things out. I want to help you, but I also feel like I have a moral obligation to report the crime. Oh, it's tearing me apart. I understand, but you're my friend. You can't turn your back on me like this. I need time to think. This is a huge decision, and I don't want to make it lightly. But I also can't keep this a secret forever. How was the dialogue? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it so-so? Now you can test your understanding of the dialogue with a quiz. Let's do it. Question 1. Why did person B steal money from their company? A. To pay for a luxurious vacation. B. To pay for their wife's medical bills. C. To invest in a high-risk venture. D. To get revenge on their boss. Answer. B. To pay for their wife's medical bills. Question 2. What does person B ask person A to do at the end of the conversation? A. Report the crime to the authorities. B. Keep the secret and not turn them in. C. Help them find a lawyer. D. Talk to their boss on their behalf. Answer. B. Keep the secret and not turn them in. Question 3. What is person A's main concern about not reporting the crime? A. Losing their job. B. Becoming an accessory to the crime. C. Ruining their friendship with person B. D. Damaging the company's reputation. Answer. B. Becoming an accessory to the crime. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure to check out my live streams. This is exactly the type of content I teach on my live streams, and you can watch them every Tuesday and Thursday Korean time at 9 p.m. Once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye.
Now, if it's just some random, what's up? It can come off as aggressive. Like, they don't know who I am. I'm like, what's up? It can come off as like, you trying to fight now.
Yeah.
You feel me? What's up? Like, oh, what's going on?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean. Hi, hello, how are you, how's it going? These are very common expressions that English speakers use when greeting each other. But what about what's up? We've all heard it, it's in the rap videos, the surfers in California say it. It's a very common casual greeting, right? When exactly do we use it? Can we just use it with anyone on the street? In this video, I'm going to answer this question for you guys by speaking with some native English speakers and some other people who are very fluent in English. Without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, where are you from?
Washington, D.C.
West Virginia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
We are from Russia.
We're from Germany.
From the States.
States?
Yeah,
Cool.
Alabama.
Georgia.
I'm from Texas.
Style is awesome, I gotta say.
Thank you, sir.
I have a really extremely important question for you. You ready?
Okay.
What's up?
What's up? Not much.
How do you respond to what's up?
Like, I'm good, bro. How are you? Something like this.
I usually say nothing much and you. You know, I'm good or nothing much.
What's up? Yeah, just chilling. Just
Just like, hey, ain't much, man. Just, I'm living life.
So you would say not much, just living life.
Majority of the time.
So if they say what's up, I'll be like, what's up with you? It's just less formal. Cause hello is like hello. How like no one really says hello, how are you? But like hey, how are you is okay, but what's up is like we're really friends.
What about hi?
I say hi to certain folks. Like if I were to meet you again, I'd say, oh, hi there.
Yeah.
Just a simple greeting, like hello.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
We're not on what's up level yet.
Not yet.
I think it's a pretty casual greeting. You know, maybe when you have like a friend, close friend, that's kind of like the term you would use. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's not like hello. You know, it's just like what's up.
Yeah.
You know, and also it depends, I think, on the tone.
Uh-huh.
Like what's up, man? Like it could mean like you're ready to fight, or it could be like,
Oh.
hey, what's up?
If it's just some random, what's up? It can come off as aggressive. Like they don't know who I am. I'm like, what's up? It can come off as like you trying to fight now.
Yeah.
You feel me? What's up? Like, oh, what's going on?
What's up, homie? I'll do something. What's up?
Like, you feel me? Like it can be misunderstood.
Yeah.
So the tone of voice is very important.
But I think it always boils down to a more informal way to say how are you doing.
What does that even mean? What's up? What is up? What does that mean?
I don't know. What is happening? What's up in your life? What are you doing right now?
Yeah. What's down? What's up?
Yeah.
How would you greet your friends? What's your go-to greeting?
What's good?
Hey.
Yeah, I say what's good. Hey, yo, bro, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we say what's up, what's good. That's all I say. Yeah. I don't say, hey, man, how are you? It's like, ooh. I mean, how are you? We say it, but like...
More business situations.
Yeah, you know what
business
I mean?
situation.
Yeah, it's just a bit too long, too. You know, it just, how are you? It's like, oh, what's up? Done. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me.
How's it going?
You say how's it going?
How's it going? Yeah.
Okay.
How you doing? What's up? That's also like in there.
Okay, what's up is in
It's
your
in there.
bag of tools.
Exactly.
Okay.
When I saw a friend I haven't seen in a few months, I'd be like, oh, how have you been? Like, what have you been up to? Yeah. How are you? I think is like the most casual saying that I would like say amongst like pretty much everybody.
All right, that's
age,
a safe
any
one.
age is a very safe one. Yeah.
I usually start out with something like, what's good? It's usually
What's good?
Yeah, so that's my way of saying how you doing, how's life, all that. Like, what's good, partner?
Okay, what does that mean? Like, what's good in your life? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like what's good, what's new, how's the family, how you doing, how's your work, all that. Like it's pretty much how's everything wrapped up into simply what's good, man.
Yeah, I usually just say like what's up.
In the South, we always say, hey, how are you doing?
All right. You with friends.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
a very Southern thing. So, yeah, that's it.
Hey, how are you? How is it going?
Yeah, for me
like,
too. Like, how are you doing? Kind of
yeah,
like
what
that.
have you been up to or something like this?
Okay.
More like from the books.
yeah, kind of.
Sounds like a textbook.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hey, how are you? Yeah, how's
All
it
right.
going?
It still works, right?
Yeah.
It's simple, but it still works. Okay.
Yeah.
What about to your parents?
To my parents, hey, mom.
You
I
would
just say, hey.
mom.
Yeah.
Hey, mom.
Hey, mom, hey, dad. Like,
Yeah.
I just say, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's going on?
Uh-huh.
How is everyone?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When would you not say what's up?
Definitely in a formal setting. So if it's like your boss, definitely also to your parents. I wouldn't really say to my mom and dad,
Okay.
what's up, how are you? Because that's, what's up is like, we're friends. We're cool, we're on the same level. But to an elder person, you would want to keep it very formal,
Okay.
but in a loving, formal way. Like, hi, how are you, grandma? Like, oh, but not what's up, grandma? What's good? No.
Well, depends on the situation. If it's like party, it's okay, I think.
Yeah.
But like
Casual
more,
atmosphere, yeah. So you can say it, but if it's like a meeting or like your boss or someone who's like older than you, they don't know people, yeah, I wouldn't say it. I mean, like for me, it's not very polite. Yeah. So.
And to someone on the street, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't like myself if someone random came up to me, it's like, "What's up?" I would be like, "Bye." What? It's a bit too not aggressive, but kind of like pushy. I don't know.
It feels like you're going too fast. We're not friends yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm laughing on the inside because in my family, it's the opposite of what they just said.
Really?
Right.
Like, if I call my dad right now, he'd be like, my first name's Avery. So he'd say, "What's up, babe?" Or I'd say, "Hey, dad, what's up?" So it depends on the family.
I think it's different for men.
Okay.
Because I will say, where I come from, a lot of men just say, "What's up, bro?" Like, "What's up?" That's very like natural. But for women, I don't see women saying, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Like women are more
That's
like
true.
reserved. Men are just kind of calm. Like, "What's up? What's up, bro? How are you?"
Would a girl say to her other girlfriend, "Yo, girl, what's up?" Did you say that?
No, it'll
No.
be more like, "Hey, girl, how are you?" Like, gender, it definitely plays a role in greetings. I would say men are just like, "What's up?" Men even do a greeting for men. They'll even be like this. That's yes.
Guilty.
Guilty. Because I've even done that to just strangers. Just like just walking on the street, I'll pass you like, "What's up, man?" So, I won't even say anything. He'll say hi back, and we just be about our business. She's right. It happened.
Are there any rude ways to greet people?
I would say what's good is one where like if you don't know how to use that, don't. What's good? Cause like that can be taken as like a let's fight. And
Right.
if you don't know like the tonal ways to say it, don't. You know, like if you don't know how to say it right, don't.
There's a lot of rude ways to greet people, but cursing is definitely number one for sure. Yeah.
Well, some Koreans they come to me and be like, "Hey,
Hey,
like, no."
yeah, kind of,
No.
kind of rude. Hey,
It's a bit like intonation also matters. Like if it's like, "Hey,"
Intonation. Yeah.
but if it's like, "Hey," it's like, "No."
yeah.
I don't know you, bye. Yeah, just on the first time you meet someone, don't be like, "What's up?" Hey, just be more cute, be more soft about it. Especially to girls, I think, like,
Yeah.
you know, because if it's
We
like a
don't
male
like
to
that.
female, we don't like.
We don't
you know.
like that. Yeah.
So you don't like when guys come and be like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah, it's a bit like no. You know, we are
it's
Russians.
rude.
Really, you know.
Yeah, it's really rude.
I think if you meet someone for the first time, it would be rude to be like, "Yo, that's kind of aggressive."
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I don't know you like that, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like we're not
such a
cool.
Good point.
Yeah, and then like another thing I would think is rude is if you kind of came up to someone and you try to dap them, but you barely know them, and they don't have that vibe.
They're like,
where
"Yo,"
they're like, yeah, it's like,
I don't know you.
Exactly. So don't do that. Like, don't try to dap people you don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that you do with your friends or people that are, you got that cool vibe. Maybe we just finished talking. It was like, "Hey man, I'll catch you later," and you hit them with that, that dap, and you out.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna do that when you first meet them. Like, and you don't know who they are
Right
or anything.
on.
So that would be considered rude.
When in doubt,
Just say hello.
yes.
When in doubt, just say hello.
When in doubt, go simple. A hello's good. Like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like, you can personalize things once you get to know them. You don't have to start by trying to be like fun and quirky and different. Just start with something basic.
Stick to how are you?
Yeah.
How are you is simple,
Yeah.
clean,
Yeah.
crisp. It's good.
Right.
It's good.
Awesome, guys. You've been so great. Thank you so much for your thoughts and your advice. See ya. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, guys.
Not a
this was
problem.
amazing. This was amazing. You're so great, Jay. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. What do you like to do for fun?
저희는 운동 같이 하는 거 좋아해서 같이 월수금 헬스장 가고 클라이밍도 갔고 여름에는 서브보딩이나 패들보드 그런 거 타고 노는 거 좋아해요.
맞아요?
네, 맞아요.
What are your favorite Korean expressions?
야, 난 맞아. 아, 그래? 진짜? I said 너무 미쳤다.
How did you guys meet?
Yeah, it was pretty funny situation, but we were in the club partying me and my friend saw two beautiful women dancing, and I told my friend Igor, look at this girl on the left side, she's so beautiful. He said, no, the girl on the right side is very beautiful. And I first thought that she was Chinese, so I started to speak to her in Chinese, and comes out she was Korean.
By the way, the reason why he thought that I was Chinese is that we met in Shanghai. And even Chinese people think that I'm Chinese.
What's the job you would never want to do?
我真的不喜欢在学校教人，因为我感觉我不是好的老师。
我已经好长时间没说过汉语了，所以我比他说汉语不太好。
有点低。
What are your goals for this year?
Продолжать заниматься разработкой Android-приложений, совершенствовать свои навыки, тренироваться больше, нарастить 3 килограмма мышц.
You agree? Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So I'm here today with the YouTube couple, Yunerin and Vova. Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, I'm Yunerin and I'm 28 years old and I'm working in a home shopping company, also running my channel called Yunerin. It's about my life and us.
Some people may call me Boba. I am just a guest in her YouTube video, but basically I'm her husband. So I'm just living in Korea and working as a programmer.
So how many languages do you guys speak? I'm curious.
Firstly, I speak Korean, English, and Chinese, but my Chinese is not really good.
My mother tongue is Russian. I believe I speak fluent English, kind of intermediate level of Chinese, and pre-intermediate level of Korean.
그리고 지금 보시는 분들 중에 윤내린 팬들 있으시면은 저는 영어를 배우는 콘텐츠랑 영어 문화권 나라를 살펴보는 그런 콘텐츠를 만들고 있으니까 그런 것에 관심 있으시면 제 채널에도 구독해주세요. So what do you usually speak together? You said you started out by speaking Chinese together because you met in China, right?
Yeah.
In a club. Yeah.
So basically we have our own language.
Okay.
It's the mixture of Korean, English, Chinese, and Russian.
Really? Russian too?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes Russian, like especially when you're angry, sometimes some bad Russian words come out. It's easy, it's like really emotional. So I would say it's 85% of English.
Yeah.
15% of Korean.
Yeah. It's already 100.
100. Okay, I would say 13, and the rest 2% is like Russian and
Chinese. Mostly we use English, but sometimes when we wanna like say hey, we don't say hey, but yeah.
You say yeah.
Yeah, because it's more comfortable and like it has its mood. So
Really?
we usually say yeah.
True. I even speak like this to my friends in Russian. Sometimes I say like yeah.
What are your favorite Korean expressions?
Yeah. Then 맞아. 아 그래? 진짜? I said 너무 미쳤다.
Is it true that dating someone really helps to improve your language skills? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think so because I was not really good at English, but I was really eager to speak English a lot and practice. So when I met him, I tried to speak a lot and I tried to learn and copy his sentence.
Yeah.
And I always prepared what to like say or what kind of sentence I need to use if I want to say something in my mind. Ever since I met him, I practiced very much and then I improved so much. You always have something you want to say in your mind, but you don't know how to speak it. Once you try to make your sentence and prepare it, and then when you practice with him, you can like every time you use it, you're gonna get this sentence as yours.
When you're making your YouTube videos are so good, by the way. I think you're showing your life, your relationship, being, a young woman, Korean woman, living in Korea, traveling. What kind of value do you think your subscribers are getting from you? Why do you think people like you so much?
Most of my subscribers are a little bit younger than me, like 3 years or 4 years. They are usually like a little younger than me. So I got a lot of comments like, I watch your video and I feel like I'm growing up with you and I see my future on your videos. So when I prepare for my job, when I prepare some interview, that when they are watching my video, they feel like it's gonna be their future. Like in 2 years or 3 years, they also need to prepare their job interview and they need to prepare the wedding or something. And they all feel like I'm a very close cousin, 언니, and they are seeing their future together and preparing something together.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important value in my channel.
Yeah, awesome. Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You're such a good person.
If you could give like one, maybe 2 tips to other 국제 couples, what would it be?
What I would say is that you need to be flexible and understand each other's culture, and you need to find something in common, and you need to understand each other's culture and respect each other's choices. I would say the good direction is that when you feel that your couple, your girlfriend or boyfriend is no longer feels like a foreigner. You no longer feel like this person is a foreigner, but you feel like this is on the same person with you.
Yeah.
Then this is the right direction.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a very good sign. When we are arguing, she's always patient in these terms. She's not that impulsive and like saying like, okay, then just go away. Never saying like this. She never says like this. She's always careful.
Come here, sit down and talk to me.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
뭔가 문제가 있으면 그거에 대해 같은 나라 사람이 연애하듯이 생각하면 안 되고 한 문제가 있으면 한 번 더 좀 긍정적으로 약간 그럴 수도 있지 이 마인드를 한 번씩은 거쳐야 되는 것 같아요. 문제가 딱 생기면 그럴 수도 있어. 근데 한 번 더 생각해보기.
나랑 달라서 그럴 수 있다.
네, 나랑 달라서 그렇게 생각할 수도 있겠다. 그럴 수도 있지. 이런 태도로 한 번 더 생각해봐야 되는 것 같아요.
How do you guys speak English so well? Have you ever lived in an English-speaking country?
So I don't really have experience living in English-speaking country.
Yeah.
But even when I met him for the first time, I was not speaking English very good.
Yeah.
But I learned from him every day meeting with him.
Korean girl, Russian guy, they both improve their English by meeting each other. So your English wasn't that good, but your English has improved a lot by meeting Vova. So Vova, how did you learn to speak English so well? Because I think English is quite different from Russian, right?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty complicated. I started learning it from the elementary school. Then when I was 12, I went to the summer camp to Auckland in New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Yeah, for a couple of weeks. But it was just for having fun. And later on, to pass the high school exams, I had to study English more. And then I had a chance to do the summer school in Cambridge for 1 month only. But to be honest, I wasn't really studying there. We just had fun.
Yeah.
Because I was already 18, so I was just drinking and partying.
Are you better at English than most Russians or similar?
I would say yeah, but I think just like in Korea, every person in Russia has to study English when you go to the school. So I would say nowadays people speak English much better than maybe 15 years ago. 10 years ago even. Nowadays even I have a younger brother who is like 11 years old. He already speaks English.
Well, anyway, thank you so much guys for joining me today. This was really interesting. I learned a lot. It's cool to see another 국제 couple who you guys are doing so well. And if you didn't know Yunerin, definitely check out her channel. You can see really interesting vlogs. She recently came back from Thailand where she had her wedding. Very interesting content. Check it out.
Yeah, come visit my channel. Thank you.
Alright guys, see you later. Bye. 외국인이 한국에서 살기로 결심한 이유.
그러니까 대부분이 저는 한국 음식을 되게 좋아해요. 저희 나라랑 비교했을 때는 한국에 대한 일단 라이프 스탠더드가 되게 좋고 사람들 되게 정이 많고 되게 좋은 사람들이 많아요.
I'm doing business here. I like doing that in Korea. Kind of the pace of the life, I like that. It's really fast, really get things done. I can't say what it is. I do feel connected with Korea. Maybe because I'm half Korean. I don't know.
한국은 되게 재밌는 나라라고 생각해요. 모든 사람들도 다 아시다시피 한국은 밤에서 타는 나라고 좋은 친구가 되게 많거든요.
되게 편리하고 대중교통이 너무 좋고요. 요즘은 요리 너무 좋아하는데 시장에 가서 싱싱하고 산 재료 많이 살 수 있으니까
일단 되게 안전하고 그리고 생각보다 다른 큰 도시보다 약간 그 물가 좀 싼 편인 것 같아요. 좋아하는 식당도 많고 여기 친구도 많고. 한국에 대한 고정관념 실제로 와보니
It's like a massive preconception that everyone gets plastic surgery, but I found that everyone pretty normal.
Where do you think that stereotype comes from?
Do you want my honest answer?
Yeah.
Idols.
Well, I think Korea is a lot more westernized than I thought it was going to be. I think the older generation is not a big fan of it. I think they wanted Korea to be more traditional.
I saw many Korean people had discrimination to Japan because Japan colonized Korean before, but actually many Korean people people are really friendly to me.
People usually say that they usually just keep to themselves and mind your own business and stuff. When I came here and see it now, it really isn't like that. They're more open.
I thought about like the weather. I heard that it was cold.
But you didn't realize it was this cold, right?
It's damn cold. They think that it's dangerous. They assume it's like, oh, you're close to North Korea. Are you gonna be hurt? I'm like, no, not so much.
My friends think, oh, are you actually able to go into Korea? They confuse with South Korea with North Korea.